Morning, Wayne. Morning, Enos.
Morning, Geraldine.
Morning, Geraldine.
I think we can get going if everyone's ready.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to switch off, and then you can start the proceedings for us, please, Enos.
Thank you, Wayne, and let me take this opportunity to welcome our esteemed participants to the information session that we're having this morning. As you know, the information that we're going to be giving you today focuses on the virtual conference that we'll be having on the 19th to the 20th of November. My colleague Geraldine will also be taking you through the presentation that she is going to introduce. Thank you very much. In terms of the agenda, Wayne, can you please bring up the agenda, please?
Wayne, can you hear the president?
Wayne, bring up the agenda.
I'm just going to stop sharing quickly, and again, it just seems to be stuck for a moment. Give me a sec. I'll be back right now.
Thank you.
Is it there, Mr. President? It seems to be saying that it's stuck on my side. I apologize. Let's just try again. Hopefully it's working now.
Yeah, it says it has started. Let's see. Move it up. Okay, thank you, Wayne. The agenda is now in front of us. The agenda as it stands, we are going to be giving you an update, as already indicated, on the upcoming conference itself. And on item number 3 is going to be a high-level overview on the T-Day. T-Day, as you know, it's coming up in March next year. Sincere apologies for that 2020 there. We will also take you through the Conduct Standard, number 4 of 2020. Wayne will be doing that presentation for us. The T-Day presentation, of course, is handled by Geraldine Fowler. We'll take questions and we will close for the day. Thank you. Now let's briefly take you through the virtual conference itself. We would like to take this opportunity to thank those members that have already registered for the conference. We are looking forward to hosting you during the conference. The theme of the conference is something that I'm going to be listing in my conversation, followed by what to expect on the virtual platform itself that we're going to be using for the 2 days, starting on the 19th to the 20th of November. I will also take you through the plenary and the master classes, what to expect from the conference in terms of those 2 items. We will also highlight the issue of the CBD points that we will be getting for those members and participants that will be taking part, in the conference. Item number 5 is the issue where we will try and sort of encourage you to engage our speakers through raising questions and also visiting those exhibition halls. We will therefore conclude, and if there are questions, and we'll be able to respond to your questions. Let's remind you that the theme for the conference, IRFA 2020 virtual conference, is shaping the future through technology, the role of the retirement sector. That is the theme for the conference, a very exciting theme that has been presented to you, and we've lined up a number of interesting speakers as well that are going to address this theme. Now, in terms of what to expect from the virtual conference, I'm aware that some of you have been attending some of these webinars and conferences, and therefore you are no longer having, some difficulties in managing the technology itself. But let's indicate to you that we have chosen this virtual conference platform that is easy to navigate, and it also allows for networking, to meet and greet, and also to sort of engage with your colleagues and friends. When we have a conference in Durban, whether in Cape Town, it is a meeting place of friends. It is a meeting place of colleagues as well. Therefore, that facility is available throughout the conference itself. Please take note or take time to sort of familiarize yourself with the platform itself by watching a short video that we've presented, an RFA explanatory video. The video itself is available. You can access the video before the conference itself so that you are able to navigate through the platform. Now, to the registered delegates, we want to confirm that you will be receiving your personalized PIN and the login access. We will give those items or facilities so that you are able to log in. The details that you send, the email, or when you register, the email that you send to us will be the email that will be used to communicate with you. We are therefore going to communicate with you, sending you those pins and login details or access, if you like, on the 16th of November, and again on Wednesday, the 17th of November. So 2 days, expect an email from our side with those personalized pins and login details. Now let's talk a little bit about the program itself so that you know what to expect during those 2 days. Please log in, check your sound, the visuals, and also update your personal information. By updating that information, you will be able to connect with your friends because they'll be able to trace you. And during those meetings of one-on-one in our virtual rooms, you will be in a position, therefore, to communicate with your friends and colleagues during the proceedings or during the tea times that we've allocated during the 2 days. In terms of the program itself, we have 5 plenary sessions on the first day with 6 expert speakers coming from the retirement industry here at home, and our keynote speaker also coming from the US by the name of Larry Segal. We also have about 8 masterclasses on the following day, that is the 20th of November, and we've lined up about 14 speakers that are going to be addressing a number of interesting topical issues. So don't miss that. CBD points will be allocated to you of course, depending on the sessions that you'll be attending. From our side, we will be able to track delegates virtually and allocate CBT points according to those sessions that they've attended. Now, as indicated earlier on, we would like to encourage you to engage with speakers and ask questions during the sessions. Of course, your questions will be answered by the presenters during the sessions themselves. Or alternatively, you can connect directly with the speakers during the networking breaks. So if you are not in a position of raising that question during the session, during those networking breaks, you can actually connect directly with the speakers and raise those important questions. Now, to learn more about the current industry and trends, we also like to invite you to visit the exhibition centers and engage with those industries that are exhibiting, that are having exhibition rooms in our conference. You can download their brochures. You can set up meetings or one-on-one calls with those exhibitors as well. So that facility is there where you can have one-on-one with the exhibitors that are going to be exhibiting during the conference. If you've not registered already, I would like to urge you to do so, as the program that we are presenting on the 19th to the 20th of November is an excellent program, and it is very, very insightful with very, very prominent speakers that are capable in those topical issues that they'll be managing. The registration numbers and the engagements are looking quite positive. And we would like, therefore, to encourage you to join us during those sessions and throughout the conference itself. You are all invited. Please encourage those who have not yet registered. Please do so. Otherwise, you are going to be missing a very interesting conference. I'm going to end up here and take questions if there are any from our participants. There's also a facility where you can still send us questions through our email at info@irfa.org.za. info@irfa.org.za. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm assuming Wayne wants me to just jump straight into it. Morning, everyone.
Do you want a formal introduction, or are you all right?
Oh, I'm good. You can if you want. Otherwise, I can jump into it.
Go for it, please.
Thank you. Thanks, Wayne. Thanks, Mr. President. I can only reiterate what our president said there. If you have not yet registered, we urge you to do so. This is really a very exciting first for us as far as the virtual conference is concerned. I myself played around with it yesterday, logging in as a delegate and going into our own company stand, and I must say I was hugely impressed. It is really going to be great, and it is world class, we can promise you that. But getting to the topic of today, this is not going to be an in-depth discussion. I will leave that to our esteemed legal and technical colleagues. this is just really to create awareness with everyone as to what is happening come 1st of March 2021. If we can hop along to the next slide there, Wayne. So, as we all know, for some years, Treasury has spoken about retirement reform and has been on the cards for some time. So if we just quickly recap and go back to the conversations that started some years ago, we saw that why do we need retirement reform? And we saw that government wants to encourage savings towards retirement and for members to use their savings wisely at retirement. Currently, Provident Fund members can take their full lump sum when they retire and spend it all, and then receive the state old age pension. And this in itself, we know not everyone has got the financial understanding or knowledge to manage large lump sums of money, but also what it does is that it creates a huge burden on the state, in that the state then needs to provide for those people when their money runs out. And that in turn, we know creates a burden on the taxpayers of our country. And in a country such as ours, where we know that the pool of taxpayers is relatively small compared to the citizens of our country. If you can move on, Wayne. So, CLAB is what I call it, Taxation Law Amendment Bill, which will come into effect in 1 March 2021 as part of the bigger plan. If we have a look at what has been implemented to date, we can see quite a lot has been done through in the last few years. So we know that the tax treatment between pension and provident funds have been removed as far as the tax incentives on contributions are concerned. All members currently enjoy tax relief up to 27.5% of taxable earnings to a max of 350,000 Rand per annum. We saw the introduction of the tax-free savings schemes, which then enables persons to, over their working life, to save some 500,000 Rand, on which you're not going to pay tax either. And then, of course, the big one, the default regulations, which we all know by now, was the default investment portfolio, the annuity strategy, and then the default preservation or paid up options offered to the members. So that is what has happened in the last few years. So if we now briefly look at what is going to happen come 1 March 2021, we can see that if we move along there, there we go, compulsory annuitisation. That comes into effect 1 March 2021, and very briefly and in summary, really, what that means is that come 1 March 2021, from that day forward, if you retire from a provident fund, you will no longer be allowed to take your money as a lump sum benefit, but you will also be expected, as with the pension fund, to use a certain amount of your capital to purchase yourself a pension or income for life. So that there's now no need for Provident Fund members to start panicking, because obviously what is being done is that your vested rights as at the 1st of March 2021 will be taken into account. It will only affect members that's retiring. So if you leave the fund prior to retirement, it's got no impact on you. You can still do with your money whatever you want. Obviously, one would try and encourage members to rather preserve their money. It will also not affect members that are 55 years and older. So if you retire when you are 56, and you in a provident fund, you can still do with your money as you would have been able to do prior to March 2021. And then at retirement, a portion of your retirement savings must be used to purchase a pension, that I said, and then there will be a de minimis amount. That means that there will be an amount that, unless your lump sum exceeds that amount, the new annuitisation will not be applicable. That is obviously so that one doesn't end up having to purchase a pension with 10,000 Rand capital. That is just not going to make sense. And then, as I mentioned earlier on, your vested rights as at 1 March 2021 will be retained. So that means your contributions towards the retirement fund effective 1 March 2021 will retain, will be the only portion to which the compulsory annuitisation will be applied. Any money that you accrued up to that point will be treated in accordance with the old tax laws applicable. And I think that really sums up everything that I need to say at this point about what is happening 1 March 2021. But just briefly, if we look, obviously the question then would be, well, what must be done? And we see that really there's 3 aspects to it. Obviously, there's your fund administrators. Your fund administrators would have to ensure that their systems are able and capable to deal with these changes that comes into effect 2021, because as we say, vested rights, that portion of your money that is in your account as at 28 Feb 21 will be treated differently to what will happen going forward, and your systems and processes needs to be aligned with that. Trustees, the fund rules of a fund must be amended so that it takes into account these changes and the preservation of your vested right at that point. And then, of course, a big one, which is always a big one, communication to members. Your consultant, your fund, your trustees must communicate to members. It's imperative that members are told about these changes and are warned up front, especially members that are planning their retirement, so that members understand their rights. But this very much goes together with what we saw with the introduction of the default regulations, when the law encourages us to do benefit consulting and so forth with members, and that is really then part of this. Wayne, that is, I did see there's some questions popping through. I know you said we'll deal with that later on, and that is really then all at this point from myself as far as this is concerned. Suffice it to say that please know that IRFA will be holding some workshops and webinars on the taxations law amendment bill. I think Wayne or the president might mention some planned dates a bit later on in the session. Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you, Geraldine. I don't know if I'm that keen to have my face on the screen, but let's do it. There have been some questions. Geraldine and Enos, if you can have a look, maybe respond where possible. And thank you for joining us. Again, just a reminder that this really is a short overview, so it's not meant to go into detail. Why we decided to discuss Conduct Standard 4 is that the deadline is pending. So what we've done here, and we'll share the slides with you later on, is just remind everyone that effectively all trustees that were appointed after or before 10 July have until 10 January to make sure that they get their proper minimum skills or prove that they have the minimum skills, which would be by completing the trustee toolkit. So what we have on screen is just the announcement and references to the law where this is applicable. If there are any questions around this, I think they've probably been answered, and I know most people are already compliant with this. But just a reminder for those, like we said, what needs to be done. You need to complete the trustee toolkit, which can be accessed on the trustee toolkit site. Again, we would encourage people to provide us with input. We as the IRFA are not providing any training or any sessions per se on this, but we'd be very happy to go to the regulator and explain why you're not able to access, or if there are any other sort of impediments that aren't related to actually doing it. If you could share that with us. Like I mentioned earlier on, the reminder here that all board members appointed before 10 July need to have completed the toolkit by 10th of January 2021. And for those who've obtained it before the 10th, or those who did the trustee toolkit before the 10th of July, they would be required to just confirm that they've done it and that they did it on their own. We will touch on that a little bit later, not too much, but just say something on it. Then the other important thing is a reminder that if you have completed the trustee toolkit and there are changes, and for example, we can think of things like COFI coming in place now and all those changes to the Pension Funds Act, that would probably require an update of some of the sections. Then everyone who's completed it won't have to complete the whole toolkit. They'll just have to complete those additional sections of the toolkit. So what is it that needs to be done? Again, I think most people know this, but I mean, as the conduct standard says, you need to complete the online assessment. There is an online learning tool that helps you with the learning material. You go through your case studies, you do your tutorials, and you then do the assessment. As it stands, it says that that has to be done under supervision of a principal officer or the chairperson. Excuse me. There have been comments about how this may be impractical. Again, I think most people know this, but where this isn't possible, I mean, COVID was a big reason for it being impractical. There is an option where the person doing the toolkit would just have to confirm that they haven't done it with any assistance, and that would be the way to work around that. A lot of the things we've discussed are things most people know. I just wanted to create the context, and for those who maybe didn't know, just to remind or to introduce them to what needs to be done. I thought there were two interesting elements to add to this, and it actually relates to what happens if trustees don't adhere to what's happening here. What I've done is I've taken an extract from the consultation report that was published with the standard. And the first question that I want to have a look at is, what happens if a new trustee joins and they don't complete the toolkit within the 6 months? You'll see there's a response there. I thought rather than using my own words, we'd have a look at what the regulator responded. And as you can see, excuse me, it says that where the new trustee hasn't been able to complete it within 6 months, the board will have to go and apply for an exemption, or an extension at least, sorry, to provide the trustee with the opportunity to complete the toolkit. I would think that this would probably be a bit of a process, and you'd probably have to explain quite nicely why the trustee who's on board is unable to do this. I think COVID would be one of the reasons, obviously, but going forward, one would have to ensure that the trustee toolkit and the training and the capacity building around that forms a big part of the trustee induction course or induction, just so that trustees are able to meet the minimum requirements here. I mean, I'm babbling on and going forth, and I know everyone kind of knows these things, but I think it's a good reminder there. And for me, the most pressing one was, for those trustees who are currently trustees and who fail to achieve who fail to complete the toolkit by the 10th of January, what is it that's going to happen? And there you'll see the regulator's response was quite simple, that, you know, in effect, this person will no longer be fit and proper, and the regulator is then going to have a look at it on a case-by-case basis. But it would essentially mean that this person could be removed by the regulator because they are no longer fit and proper. And I think this is an important thing to just get our heads around. New trustees, some grace with the ability to request for an extension so that the person is able to build the capacity and they can do the toolkit and show that they've completed it. However, for those trustees who are existing trustees, there is no such grace. So it really is a question of existing trustees have to do what they need to do to get this completed by the 10th of January. And I think that talks to the support that boards need to give to their trustees to be able to achieve this. And it's also just a reminder to trustees that this isn't a nice to have. This is an absolute requirement. And the law's there, and I assume the regulator after the 10th of January will start calling upon funds and asking them whether they have got to register, whether they can confirm that their trustees have completed the course. And obviously the evidence there would be a completed completion certificate. And again, then around the ethics, if it wasn't completed under supervision, would be the other issue that you'd have to have a look at as a board. I'm going to move on to the general section. So I did mention this in passing, and we have actually discussed it before. All funds where the boards have completed the toolkit would have to just obviously keep copies of the declaration where it wasn't done under supervision. So if it's not or where it is done under supervision, whoever is confirming that the toolkit was completed by the person without assistance, be that a self-declaration or a declaration by a principal officer or chairperson. So that record would have to be kept. And then for those board members who've already done the toolkit and who are confirming that they didn't do it but that they did do it by themselves with no assistance of other parties, those records would also have to be kept and be made available to the FSCA or to the regulator when they ask for it. And then just a reminder again, as and when these things change, new modules will be added. And my understanding is that the same would apply. If you don't complete the additional module, the same potential sanctions would apply for existing trustees. And obviously there's a slightly different situation for new trustees. That would be my short overview. Again, I think just what we wanted to share is, please remember that this is not a nice to have. New trustees, more lenient. Existing trustees, absolutely must have. And essentially they won't be fit and proper to be trustees anymore after the 10th of January if they were appointed before the 10th of July. And obviously all the other things that we said, declaring that they've done it by themselves, and also just keeping that register. That is all from me on the Conduct Standard 4. I don't know if there are any questions. I can't pick up. I see there's one Q&A, but I'm not picking it up. I don't know, Geraldine and Enos, if you can pick up what the question is there.
Yeah, I think it's the question, Wayne, that is addressed to Geraldine. The question is from anonymous attendee, and it reads as follows: has Treasury released the de minimis amount?
Enos, I see we've lost Geraldine, unfortunately.
We've lost Geraldine.
As far as I know, they haven't, but just a reminder, and I think you're going to talk about that now on the follow-up session on the TLAB issues, because remember this, Geraldine was just giving us a quick highlight of what's there. So if there are no other questions, can I hand over to you to close the proceedings for us, please, Enos?
Thanks, Wayne. I don't know whether my camera is on.
It was for a second, yes, yeah, thank you, Enos.
Okay, technology is playing games here. Thanks, Wayne, for that wonderful presentation. I also want to take this opportunity to thank Geraldine for her presentation as well. I think the issues that you highlighted when in terms of compliance by the trustees, we would like to really encourage our trustees to make it a point that they go through that process of, writing that exam through the toolkit, if you like, as the date is closing by. December is very short. The country by the 15th of December is closed. It opens again on the 15th of January. So the time is very, very limited for you as trustees to really attempt those toolkit exercises. Thank you for making the time to participate in this webinar. We are therefore looking forward to all of you joining us at the virtual conference next week. Just to remind you, the conference is starting on the 19th and ending on the 20th of November. We really have a good lineup of speakers, so don't miss it. For the IRFA members, please look out for that email that will be coming out in terms of our board elections. As you know, the current board's term ends early next year in January. And therefore, we are going to be going through the process of electing new board members. So please expect an email that will be coming from us during this month as we start the process of electing new board members of the Institute of Retirement Funds Africa. Please also look out for the invitation to our webinar, for our webinars for the rest of this year. We are going to be having a few that we will be mounting. So please look out as we are planning to have 2 more sessions. One will be more detailed discussion on the T-Day itself that we've discussed during this webinar. And the other will focus on the divorce orders. So these 2 are also very, very important. Please rejoin us as we will be providing those dates for the T-Day and the divorce orders. If you still have further questions, please contact us through our email. Our email is info@irfa.org.za, or you can pick up the phone and phone us on this number, 011 450 1670, 011 450 1670. Thank you very much for participating. We wish you all the best. Bye.
Thank you, Enos. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.